Welcome to the party, pals! GRC Mafia, right out of the gate. We're here to break down barriers, foster collaboration and community, working towards a more secure future for everybody. Definitely a learning and growing environment. Now, today is more of an awareness video and so forth, along the lines with the occupational safety side that Matthew's going to be joining us on again to share, the presentation and so forth. Definitely ask questions, share resources and so forth. One of the best places to drop links, such as your social media or other link resources that you would like to include, is inside of our Discord server. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in chat. You can go ahead and join our Discord, go over to the live chat channel to drop links in social media and so forth, especially if you guys want to connect with the rest of the community. Like I said, definitely ask questions and share resources along the way. Don't share anything you don't want to be public. This is definitely a live stream on the internet and so forth. If you happen to do so, feel free to reach out to me on Discord, LinkedIn, or you can also reach me at contact@studygrc.org. Let's see here. And then also, if you guys are not familiar, we do also have B-dubs in the community dropping an article every single Monday related to cybersecurity GRC. And then also the ongoing CISSP study group, which is every Tuesday night, Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. and then Saturdays at 3 p.m. Central Time. And then, of course, we have our website as well with the rest of the platforms that we have and our resources page, which is a big one. So we're still working on our resources page, looking for more things to add to that. If you guys have anything you'd like included, the best way to submit that is through our Discord server. If you just drop something in our general chat or otherwise. Welcome to the party, pal, Rania. And then without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and transition over here and we'll get Matthew up on the stage here. Welcome to the party, pal, and thank you for joining us again. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday today. Today we're going to be talking about mental health awareness. And generally, when you think of mental health awareness, you're thinking suicide prevention, stuff like that. And that does play a role in it. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And we want to talk about mental health awareness in a broad spectrum, not just suicide prevention, even though that does fall into it. There's also a lot of other serious mental illnesses out there that people may need assistance with, or you may need to recognize and go out of your way to help people with. So we'll go ahead and jump in. So mental health affects a lot of people. One of the biggest age groups it does affect is adults 18 to 25. It does affect kids at a high rate too, but a lot of kids do have resources to get help, and a lot of them do. Um, that 18 to 25 range, though, it's a high suicide range too. So those people are a real good focus. And then usually once around 30, I think it's 30 to 33 is when it starts declining when it comes to serious mental illness. So we're going to talk about the impact of mental health with the severity rates. So this is a small scale that was made indicating what the age ranges are and how the serious mental illness plays in. So, with a roughly total impact of almost 12 million adults that are officially classified with SMI, which is serious mental illness, 18 through 49. We don't have age under 18. A lot of knowledge about that because of laws regarding kids. There's not a lot of graphs and all of that that come out with that. But as we can see, serious mental illness is very prevalent in our society. Between a lot of things happening here in the U.S. Uh, and other countries too, can lead to a lot of serious mental illnesses, along with a lot of the society norms that have came about, uh, like not talking about feelings and all of that stuff, which everyone knows that sort of thing. It's always a good thing to talk, good thing to go to a psychologist and a therapist regularly to be able to keep your mental health good. So we're going to look at serious mental illness more from the employer side today than a friend or a standard uh, overlook at it. So, from the employer side, there's a lot of things you can do to help and prevent mental illness with your employees. One of the easiest ones being is policy development, having a health policy aligned with not just regulations that currently exist on the state, federal, or local levels, but make policies that will help, such as there's companies out there, I work for one of them that have options for us if we need to talk, whether that be, going to a member of management to have a one-on-one conversation that stays privately. It's important to stress to upper management if they are in a role that people may go to and talk to them about sensitive things, especially with mental health. It's good that they would know about HIPAA laws and not turn around and spread that information around, especially if they're a trusted person in the company, because it could end up backfiring if they turn around and talk about it with other employees and start rumors and stuff like that. Then you could potentially open yourself up for legal actions. But there's a lot of other policies too that you can implement, uh, like uh, safety talks can be used for it too, where people can gather and talk together and feel like a member of a team can greatly help with serious mental illness, um, and make them feel like they have a purpose in the organization. And it's important to have some type of purpose. And along with policies like health programs for people to be able to go to fit therapists or psychologists, whatever you need, uh, for a low or no cost. I know with the company I work for, there's a phone number every employee is given at the time of being hired. That is pretty much a online phone call, and the company does not have access to any of that information. And it's very common for these programs to not have give any of the information to the company of what's talked about. It's considered a private conversation, and you can talk to a licensed professional about what's going on, and they can offer suggestions and uh, hopefully get you on the right track, whether that be weekly or bi-weekly or monthly sessions, or uh, maybe just talk you through a hard time for you to figure out how to do it. And then having accountability is a very big thing. So it can having accountability, and I'm not just talking about overall leadership accountability. Talking about when something actually happens, especially if it's a serious mental issue. Um, that person who did the action who may have a mental issue, taking accountability for that. Like if someone has major anger issues and they have a episode at work, that's not something we should brush off. That person, even though they have a serious mental issue, is now a recognized hazard if they're starting to become violent at work. And that needs to be dealt with because you don't want to possibly threaten the safety of your other employees or this employee if they decide to have another episode. So if people are having stuff like that at work, or they're going through a lot of stress and they are repeatedly snapping on people, that's something that you should have a one-on-one conversation with and try to address what the actual issue is so you can try to prevent it from happening again. Because we see it all the time where people are showing signs of serious mental illness and they're going down that path, and then something majorly terrific happens that they planned, and like a shooting, and there was things that could have been done to possibly prevent that. And we don't want those things happening. We want to implement policies and get the individual help. And there are some guidelines for workplaces when it comes to when it comes to mental health, such as you have the HIPAA laws preventing you from sharing information with people that are not a part of it. You also have the work accommodations if they do need accommodations for their mental health, such as anything from time off to um, maybe working in a different work area for a little while to relieve stress. That's all things that could happen. And with the American with Disabilities Act, that does recognize serious mental illness, along with almost any other health issue, will fall with the Disabilities Act. So we want to make sure we're following those things. And if they come for us for help with that sort of thing, we do listen to them and we acknowledge their concerns and try to work with them. Because it's better to try to keep them as an employee and preferably a happy employee than terminating or them quitting. And we can also have cross-functional communities, like our safety committee, for example. If we have a safety committee in the building, uh, that committee can also be kind of like a mental health awareness too. They can, if they see something on the floor, they can approach the person. They can talk to the person, try to offer a friendly hand, and calm down the situation. And it's important that especially people in your safety committee and people that are throughout the factory, as many people as you can, getting them trained on recognizing serious mental issues and those people not being afraid to speak up about it. eh, Which another thing that falls in line is the accountability thing. If you have people speaking up about possible serious mental issues with other employees and you're not doing anything about it, they're probably gonna stop speaking up about it. So, those kinda fall in line together. So, with a risk assessment, as we can see, it's a very high amount of people that, do suffer from suicidal thoughts, behaviors, especially in the adult scheme. If I remember right, so that 13,000,000, it was like 11% of the workforce who had responded to that survey. And that's a lot of people. Adolescents at 13% roughly. Uh, that's kind of to be expected. It's with everything changing their body, everything like that. They are very prone to having serious mental issues during that phase, and then, from what I've seen at least, uh, them growing out of it and learning how to control it does happen frequently. And then productivity. When people are not feeling good and they aren't have in a good mind space, they don't work. They don't want to be there. They don't want to put that effort in. So that's another reason why we want to make sure they're good on the mental health screen so our productivity can stay high. Of course, that's not the only reason. And that's not one of the points that you should really bring up to your employees of why you care about serious mental illness. That might make them resent the company a little bit if you bring that up as one of the points. But we have to recognize all of the benefits of our employees being happy, and productivity is one of them. And here we're going to talk about some of the compliances with it. So we have the American Disabilities Act that we talked about earlier. With that, it requires accommodation for any mental health issue, or health issue. This is the same thing that allows us to, if an employee has a broken foot and the doctor says, hey, they can go to work, but they can't stand for more than 15 minutes, well, maybe we can get them in a area where they can sit in a chair to do their job. Then they're not standing. And it gets them back at work making money. It gets your productivity back up, can help a lot. And it's a very important thing to provide reasonable accommodations. Um, we're not lawyers here, but I know uh, violating stuff like the Americans with Disability Act and the other compliances that we're going to talk about today could potentially lead to legal issues. So that's another reason you don't want legal issues. There's also the Family Medical Leave Act, which allows your employees to take leave for medical issues within their family. If their mom's suffering from a major thing or their aunt or something like that, allows them to leave work without the risk of losing their job to be able to focus on their family for a little bit. Uh, Most times that I've seen this, it's been for 3 to 5 days. And then we have HIPAA. HIPAA is protects our health information. So the only people with how HIPAA is, the only people you're allowed to talk about your health information with. Let's say I tell my company about a medical condition going on and it was in a private area in the HR head of HR's office. And then tomorrow bunch of people in the factory knows about the medical condition that I'm going through. That could potentially be a violation of HIPAA, because I did not give them authorization to share that information around, and I didn't tell anyone else. So it leads back to head of HR sharing it around. So that's why we want to make sure that everyone that could potentially have someone come talk to them about something major medical related, that they know the basics of what's expected out of them with HIPAA and hopefully follow it. So there's a bunch of prevention strategies we can use here in the workplace. Hello, GAM. With prevention strategies, we can implement screening. So teaching your employees about identification signs of possible serious mental issues or suicidal thoughts. Uh, So everyone can be looking at each other, see something, say something. Uh, this can help detect early warning signs, which can very greatly impact the serious mental issues, getting them help quickly and medication or talking, whatever's needed. Uh, the quicker it is, the better it is. And then conducting risk assessments, having a proactive workplace monitoring system that's looking at the stressors and vulnerabilities that could cause serious mental issues. Uh, Anything from working long 12, 14, 16-hour shifts, 6, 7 days a week. That's a big contributor right there. And if you're running people like that for a long time, you can't be shocked when they come up with serious mental issues and productivity goes down. Because what type of work life balance can you have on a 14, 16-hour shift? Even an 8 hour, even a 12-hour shift, if you're working manual labor, can be pretty rough to have some type of life balance. So it's important you get your productivity out of your people, but make sure you're giving your people the tools they need to be giving you that productivity. And then providing mental health first aid. We talked about that a little bit earlier of training people on your production floor, not just upper management, about warning signs and recognitions to be able to help. It's also not a bad idea for if you have a first responder team uh, that responds to medical issues in the building to help stabilize someone before a ambulance or any other first responders get there. Uh, it's important if you have a first responder team to also train them in not just recognizing, but also helping with mental health. Uh, Teaching them the ways to calm the person down and de escalate the situation could be very beneficial if something does happen in your facility that's a major mental crisis. And documentation. As always, document everything and store it. If someone's having violent outbursts at work, that should be documented. It should not be pushed aside. If someone comes to you with saying something pretty wild that could lead to them possibly having serious mental illness, don't spread it all around the factory, stuff like that. No, document it. Maybe write it down somewhere. Go, hey, this date, this time, this employee said this to me, and inform the proper people that should be informed. If you are a entry level employee and someone comes to you saying something that may lead to a mental health crisis or something along those lines, go to head of HR, go to the factory management team and tell them, like, hey, this date and time, this employee said this, and I'm not feeling comfortable about it, and they should step in and hopefully help it. So implementation, so resources. So mental health awareness shouldn't cost a bunch of money, but you should dedicate a portion of your benefit budget to mental health. This would go into providing the programs to provide a anonymous person for the employees to talk to if they're experiencing a mental health crisis or just need a talk. This would go into preventive programs and pretty much anything that could be related to mental health. And in the grand scheme of things, doesn't cost that much money to offer a helping hand. We're just talking about a little bit of time there. Uh, your management team going out to an employee that is having a issue and asking them like, "Hey," or even pulling them into the office and going, "Hey, I've noticed you've been really stressed out the past few weeks, and I'm here if you need to talk." That doesn't cost anything and is one of the easiest preventative measures you can take. And having a clear pathway. So if someone has a crisis or someone comes to someone, having a clear escalation procedure of what you're going to do at what point and sticking to it. Uh, you shouldn't be differing too much from one employee to another employee, not just because that's not fair. Everyone should get treated the same, but you do run into possible favoritism and stuff like that if someone's getting treated differently than someone else. Uh, so you want to make sure that you're following the procedures in place and you have a good set of procedures in place. And then policy reviewing. So when you, as always, when you implement something, you should always take a look at it few weeks, few months, few quarters down the road to make sure that's being effective. So if you implement a new mental health protocol or anything along the lines of implementing something new, always follow up, always check up on it, and make sure that's working effectively because it may not be working as effectively as you originally intended. And maybe it would be better to stop that uh, procedure or protocol, program, whatever you implemented, and switch to something else that might be more effective. And having coordination between every department is greatly important. Uh, between HR, legal, operations, entry level employees, having coordination between everyone is extremely important. Because if the person goes to, let's say, HR and they say one thing and HR doesn't relay that to anyone else, and then they go to the uh, week or two later, they go to a factory manager and tells them something a lot worse that may be grounds for you guys stepping involved and maybe taking control of the situation. But that factory manager is not concerned now because he doesn't know that that person went to HR a couple weeks ago and said some wild stuff back then. Now you're have no coordination and possibly couldn't prevent a situation from happening in the building because no one was talking to each other. That should have been. We talked about this a little bit already. So, program effectiveness. So, making sure you're tracking your metrics with your health and safety, making sure that everything is working as intended and is showing good results. Because there are sometimes things can work intended as intended and not be showing good results. And if we are coming across something that we implement that's not showing good results, we should cut that and try something new. Uh, so tracking not just what the preventive measures are and how many times they're uh, implement participation. If employees aren't participating in a program that you implement, what's the point of having the program you implemented if no one's going to use it? So if you're noticing that, let's say you have 1,000 people in your facility and only 20 or 30 people are taking advantage of the program, maybe there's a possible issue with the program of why people are not wanting to go in. And you could go out and talk to the employees and ask them, like, hey, why don't you guys take advantage of this program? You might find out that like maybe they don't trust it, or maybe it's too much of a hassle. You can get some feedback to possibly make it better. And doing compliance audits. So this topic could be a little bit difficult to do compliance audits with, um, but making sure that everyone's trained on what they need to be trained on, and maybe doing refresher courses to make sure they didn't forget. Those could be some ways that you can ensure compliance. And measuring the financial impact. So, as we know, bigger the company, the bigger money talks, and they want to see the financial impact of how it's going to aid the company. And it could have a financial impact. You may not see it immediately, but uh, to kind of help track this, you can maybe take a photo of your or a screenshot or mark it down of what your guys's profit to loss was and what your guys's average is. And then after implementing these programs, you can take a look at it and go, oh, yeah, we had a really good last month or a really good last 3 months, possibly because of the implementation of this program and providing help to the employees. So, future outlook. So it's going to talk about some of the things that we can do. So, such as technology. We can implement technology in a lot of different ways for mental health to help with mental health monitoring. We already see it in some mental health facilities where when you walk in, they have a little tablet, and the tablet has you put in your name and your social and all of the information they need, and then they'll have a little questionnaire on there that goes over all the questions that they would be asking you anyways, to help speedline the process and get you help quicker. And that's something might not be a great idea to implement that exact thing into a business uh, for your employees, but there's a lot of things when in technology that could help. I don't know a lot of them off the top of my head. I've never implemented a lot of mental health awareness stuff yet. So another thing is stakeholders. So companies that do have stakeholders, they do generally like when the company's making a good amount of money, and you doing things for the employees can help that. And we have seen a rise, especially in the last, I would say, 15, 20-ish years of people investing in companies that they like and they trust. So if you're going out of your way to help your employees in a way that is not legally required of you, it can really help on your eye in the public and can boost that. And being proactive. In a lot of industries, we see a reactive compliance. Someone will take their life from serious mental illness, or there'll be a mass shooting nearby, and that's when the company will start talking about this. And that's not the time to talk about it. You want to be proactive, not reactive on things. So if you wait for an accident to happen, it's not the best time to. So you want to be proactive, talk about it beforehand, inform and make people knowledgeable about the signs, the risks, and how to prevent it. And that'll put you in a lot better eye in the public and also with your employees and with your community. And that ends our slides for today. We did drop in the chat 988lifeline.org. That is a suicide prevention line. Uh, Pretty much what that states is talks about suicide prevention and all the different help tools that are available. One of which is them. On any phone, you can call or text 988 and talk to someone to be able to help with serious mental illness. And that's a 24-hour a day, 7 days a week line, anytime you need, including holidays.
Yeah, thanks for joining us again. And yeah, one of the biggest reasons for these videos is just to get people talking about it more and get some of the gears turning on it. And also, I'm going to drop in chat. So Matthew is also on LinkedIn if you guys want to go ahead and connect with him directly. And yeah, the Discord server is also a great option. I'm going to drop that in chat as well. But if you guys have any questions, definitely hopping into the Discord server. You can connect with Matthew directly on LinkedIn. And then we're doing 2 of these every month, right?
Yes, at the moment, yep.
Yeah, so we'll get the rest of them scheduled out for next month. I believe we were looking at the second Wednesday of every month and then the last Wednesday of every month
Yes.
at the exact same time.
Yep, every event will be right around noon, most likely right at noon.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and then also there was the resources dropped in chat. And again, thank you guys for joining us today, and we'll catch you guys next time.